Let's talk about grocery costs. Lately, it seems everything you buy at the grocery store has increased in price, sometimes even doubled. On top of increased rent, utilities, and seemingly every other service, many of us are still feeling the pinch of the pandemic at the grocery store. But as we've returned to a new kind of normalcy again, why aren't grocery prices returning to normal yet? Supply chain bottlenecks and increased demand for goods and services following the reopening of the economy after the pandemic-related lockdowns sent prices skyrocketing to 4-decade highs in the summer of 2022. In December 2023, the U.S. Department of Agriculture forecasted food prices to increase by 2.9% in 2024, after a rise of already 5.8%. In 2024, groceries are still estimated to rise by another 1.6%. Some economists also blame companies for maintaining high prices to buffer their profits. As costs finally decreased, companies started to see increased profits with their higher prices. Some reduced their prices, but others still haven't. If you could keep making more and more money with less and less cost to your bottom line, it might be difficult to cut your profit, especially if all your competitors were increasing their prices too. Let's look at an example. If you were to buy a carton of eggs in September 2021, it would have cost you $1.67. If you bought the same carton of eggs in May of 2022, it would have cost you $2.86. Now, if you bought the same carton of eggs in February of 2023, it would cost you $4.82. This is a 250% increase. And the same would go for a gallon of milk, which increased from $3.35 in March of 2021 to $4.20 in January of 2023. Bread also increased 22% from $1.55 in 2022 to $1.89 in January of 2023. And this goes for butter and chicken breast and coffee and even potato chips. So if you've been going over your groceries and feeling like you're buying less and spending more, you're not wrong. So naturally, you start to look for ways to eat cheaper in order to spend less on groceries. You might say, well, it's not too bad to just grab the non-organic eggs or the on-sale sugary cereal every now and then, and that's true. The problem is, as soon as you start buying the more processed, cheaper options, the trans fats and processed sugars trick your brain into wanting more and more, making eating healthy something that feels harder and harder to do. And that's when the healthy foods you were buying become more and more processed foods, and you wind up ordering pizza more regularly because it's cheap and easy. For this reason, people become overweight and lose any progress towards a healthy lifestyle they might have started. The terrifying reality is that almost every company in our modern society exploits our desire to save money and get the cheapest product possible by pumping their products full of cheap, highly processed chemicals, dyes, hydrogenated fats, and high fructose syrups, all to get you to come back to their product again and again. There are millions of dollars spent by extremely good marketers to create the most appealing boxes and cartons to entice you to buy them, some even tricking you into thinking they're healthy when in reality, these products are filled with foods that will only leave your body tired, inflamed, and needing more. And what makes it even easier for us to keep justifying these purchases is that it doesn't take much work at all. They make it seem effortless and cheap. It's crazy to believe, but we live in a world where manufacturers trick us with marketing and add horrible ingredients to our foods, all to maximize profits. And that's why billions of people choose to buy these highly processed convenience foods instead of breaking free of the processed foods and false marketing tactics and creating the healthy lives they want to live. So I believe the high grocery costs are a big issue. Everyone is impacted by it, and that's why I want to tackle it by doing a meal prep challenge on a budget to provide an example of how you can eat healthy while also being on a budget, and hopefully to inspire you to do the same. So here are the rules. No processed foods. I can only use whole, natural foods, which means no added sugar, no trans fats, and no artificial dyes or sweeteners. That means no junk food like chips or sweets. It must be well balanced. Each day's nutritional breakdown must account for a minimum of 1,500 calories and contain good sources of dietary fiber, healthy fats, complex carbs, and lean proteins from various high-quality sources. Meals for a week. I'll be following the same meal plan format I use in my 30-Day Healthy program, which has 6 days worth of well-balanced meals, including breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner every day. I found this to be the best way to minimize prep time and maximize variation in daily meals, which helps you to stay consistent and save money on groceries. Storage for 5 days. Because this is a meal prep, I want to make sure that the foods that I choose will be well suited to keep in the fridge for up to 5 days. Luckily, I have good quality airtight containers for meal prep, but that only goes so far. Some foods, like most salads, don't last as long, so I'll need to be mindful of which meals I choose. Minimal budget. For this challenge, I will assume I'm provided with a minimal kitchen pantry for spices, oils, and other basics. Everything else I'll need to buy at the store. Portions for one. For this meal prep challenge, I will be making the portion sizes of 1 so that I can stay as cheap as possible. However, the recipes will need to be easily altered to allow for doubling, quadrupling, or even sextupling the serving sizes as we need to in our family of 6. Homemade meals. The whole point of this challenge is to make homemade meals for as cheap as possible. So each meal will need to be made mostly from scratch. This will also help limit any processing of foods too. All right, one last look at the rules. So now that the rules are set, let's get started. Okay, so I have a lot of work to do. Normally when I put together a meal plan, I think on what are the meals that sound good, and then I kind of put them together for the week. But now I also have to think about how do I keep things as cheap as possible. So I'm gonna have to think on what unrefined grains and complex carbs, healthy fats, and lean proteins I can put together that will make good meals, be as cheap as possible, store all week, and follow all of the rules. For protein, I can pretty comfortably assume the cheapest option will be bone-in chicken. I'm not a huge fan of bone-in thighs though, so I'll see how much of a difference of the cost is in the bone-in versus the boneless chicken thighs when I'm at the store. I also know pork shoulder is cheap for protein, usually $3 to $4 a pound. So I'm thinking I'll grab some and turn it into some carnitas in the Instant Pot while I prep everything else. Finally, I'm gonna choose ground turkey for the third entree because it's pretty cheap, flavorful, and holds up well in a lot of recipes. I wanna make sure I have as much variety as possible without sacrificing cost. I honestly could just do one meal and give that in bulk, but that wouldn't be very fun and would be super boring by the end of the week, leaving me more likely to go order pizza. And that would defeat my entire purpose. Now for veggies. I had to research what vegetables are the cheapest. I learned that potatoes, cauliflower, and carrots are among the cheapest vegetables, so I will be adding them to a medley that I roast along with the chicken thighs. To bring it all together, I'll add a lemon juice and garlic sauce, which I think will taste really great, will reheat well, and it'll be well balanced. This will be my meal number 1. For my second meal, I'll need to think about what I can have with my carnitas that will still be cheap. My thought is a carnitas bowl with steamed white rice, which is a really great cheap grain. I'll add some black beans and maybe, if we're good with budget, an avocado. I love anything carnitas and rice bowls, so I know I'll really enjoy this meal, and I'm super stoked that I get to make it for cheap. Meal number 2 is planned. For meal number 3, the final entree, I'll double up with the rice and make stuffed bell peppers. And since green bell peppers are the cheapest and go amazing with stuffed bell peppers, I'm all set there. Meal number 3 is planned. Smoothies are a great cost-effective breakfast and will be an opportunity for me to add in some fruit into this meal plan. I'll choose strawberries, which are often the cheapest frozen berries you can buy in bulk. I could also go with bananas, but I feel like strawberries, so I'm gonna go with it. I'll make my strawberry cheesecake protein smoothie, which will be great because whatever leftovers of the Greek yogurt I can use on top of my carnitas. So that means breakfast is planned. Now for the snack. I'm a sucker for a really easy snack, and I love hummus, which is pretty cheap to make. All we'll need is a can of chickpeas, another lemon, and some garlic, plus a few seasonings. Plus, I'll already have the carrots from meal 1, which will help save money too. That's the last of our plans. Here's what the meals are gonna look like. Breakfast will be strawberry cheesecake smoothie. Snack will be hummus with carrots. And our mix and match meals for lunch and dinner will be sheet pan, lemon chicken and veggies, carnitas rice bowl, and stuffed bell peppers. I'm feeling pretty good about the meals that I have planned out, and I'm really excited to have them during the week. They sound delicious, so that's a good sign for the meal prep to be successful. And so now it's just time to think on amounts and the grocery list. In order to be as specific as possible for this meal plan and to stay on budget, I want to write out every meal and what ingredients are going to be needed. Fortunately, I have my food blog, A Sweet Pea Chef, which already has a ton of clean eating, simple recipes. So I will start there. Going with the same format as 30 Day Healthy, we'll have the breakfast smoothie for 6 servings, the 3 meals for 4 servings each, leaving us the option to pick and choose which one sounds best throughout the week for lunch or dinner, and then the 1 snack for 6 servings. Now it's time to head to the grocery store. All right, let's get going. haven't put these things in my grocery cart in a really long time, so it's kind of weird to walk around the grocery store getting all the junk food for this video. Okay, so the avocados are actually on a really good sale, so I'm definitely going to pick up 2 of these guys because avocados are amazing and they're cheap right now, so I'm going to take advantage of it. Okay, so I was right. The turkey is actually cheaper than the ground beef, so my plan holds, and I'm going to grab some 93% lean. It's actually not that much, so. Yep. Awesome. They actually don't even have bone-in chicken thighs right now, so I'm gonna go with the boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and it actually isn't that bad of a deal, so fortunately we lucked out that it's not a bad deal. Bonus was I just hit my steps while walking, so yay! Multitasking there, right? Making lots of progress. We're almost done. So I'm finding it kind of sad that the frozen fruit section is so limited here. There's like 1 of each fruit. So you can kind of see it behind me, but like there's ice cream and frozen pizzas and, you know, all sorts of frozen pastries everywhere, but like the frozen fruit is like this tiny little section. So guess I'm grabbing the 1 strawberry bag. All right, we have everything we need for our meal plan. Now it's time to go check out. It's so cold out right now. Okay. So I was looking over the receipt because I was shocked at how much cheaper the total was than I thought it was going to be. And looking over the receipt, I see that the chicken thighs aren't on here. So I think I may have accidentally just stolen some chicken thighs from the store. So not the kind of video that I was looking to do. I know we're on a budget, but that's not the type of budget I was looking to do. So I'm gonna head back into the store and pay for the chicken thighs, and then we'll have the total number that's gonna be accurate for how much all these meals cost. So back to the store I go. Okay, the chicken thighs have been paid for. Everybody calm down. Okay, so actually I was able to save a lot of money. I was surprised at how much less expensive the items were at the store versus on Instacart. So definitely has me rethinking Instacart, even though it's easy and I normally use it to save time. I usually leave myself 2 to 3 hours for a week's worth of meals, which means I choose a day I have a big enough window to get it all started. Typically, it's on a weekend. So meal prepping for 3 hours might sound like a lot of time, but it's actually not that much time if you consider that ordinarily you'd be coming home, figuring out what you're gonna do for dinner, cooking it, and cleaning up. And that's gonna take well over an hour to do every day. And it's the same thing every day. And you get home and you're stressed and tired from work and you just wanna have dinner. Okay, so now I have all of the groceries brought in from the truck. They're put away and it's time that we can start cooking the meals. So let's get started. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this video. Real quick, I wanted to take a second to share my favorite protein powder with you. I love Cleanish plant-based protein. It tastes amazing, has a small list of simple ingredients even my kids can pronounce, and has 0 added sugars, which I know you agree is important. When I shared a few YouTube videos a little bit ago showing how I have a protein smoothie every day, and I talked about the importance of protein, especially for women, I kept getting asked what protein powder do I recommend. However, honestly, the options out there at the time really needed to be improved. Even once you found a clean option, it tasted awful, or it had a grainy, gritty texture, or a super strong dirt-like stevia aftertaste. So I got to work. And it took 2 years from that point to bring Cleanish plant-based protein into the world. Now it has 100% 5-star reviews. It's loved by pretty much everyone who tries it. And it's even been featured in Women's Health magazine and Vanity Fair as a fantastic plant-based protein. We have 4 delicious flavors to choose from, and you can get 10% off your first order. So head over to cleanish.com to grab a bag and see why our customers say they'll never buy a different protein again. For freezing the Greek yogurt for these smoothie packs, I find it helpful to freeze in just a simple ice cube tray. Each slot is about 2 tablespoons, so I use that as a basis for how much to grab to put in my freezer pack. You could also plop the Greek yogurt out onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and then freeze them individually before adding to the smoothie packs if you don't have an ice cube tray. You always want to start with the parts of the meal plan that usually take the longest. Typically, that's going to be the proteins and any starches or grains. For this meal prep, we have a few. We have a decent amount of rice to steam, and we have the pork shoulder to get started in the Instant Pot. So I'm gonna be making my carnitas, which is on the blog, Sweet Pea Chef, and I can leave the link below for you. I also have a video of them where I make these and 3 other shredded pork recipes using an Instant Pot, so I can leave those links for you too. First, start with the seasoning, which consists of sea salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and coconut sugar. This is gonna get patted all over the pork shoulder. Then add olive oil to the Instant Pot and set it to saute. Once it's hot, add the seasoned pork shoulder and sear it on all sides for about 2 minutes each. Once the pork is seared on all sides, remove it and set it aside on a plate. Press cancel on the Instant Pot and then add a cup of the chicken broth. My original recipe calls for orange juice here, but I opted to cut it out for cost savings. Instead, I'll squeeze 1 lime into the pot. Now using a spoon, I'm gonna scrape up all the little bits from the bottom of the pot. Then I add the remaining chicken broth, return the seared pork to the pot, secure the lid, and set it on pressure cook or manual on high pressure for 60 minutes. Okay, so now that we have the pork going, we can get started on the rice. White rice doesn't take nearly as long as brown rice, but it will still take about 30 minutes, especially to get the water boiling and considering how much rice we're making. So I'm gonna rinse the rice in the sink, and then I'm gonna add it to a tall stock pot along with water and a little sea salt. I'll set it to high to get the water to boil, but then I'll need to lower the heat once it starts to boil, set it to a simmer, cover, and cook for about 20 or so minutes until the water is absorbed. I'll also prep the oven for the sheet pan, lemon, chicken, and veggies by setting the oven temp to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. The veggies I chose were red potatoes, cauliflower, and carrots because they're some of the cheapest veggies and they're great when roasted. I'll go ahead and get them prepared by washing them and then quartering the red potatoes, slicing the carrots, and dividing the cauliflower into florets. Then I'll lay them out on a rim baking sheet lined with parchment paper. In a small bowl, I'm gonna whisk together the olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, sea salt, ground black pepper, cumin, paprika, and turmeric. Then I'll add the chicken thighs and toss until they're coated. I'm gonna layer the chicken thighs onto the baking sheet over the veggies. Then I'm gonna add a few lemon slices and then into the oven it goes. This will roast for about 25 minutes or until the chicken is cooked through and the potatoes are tender. And this is why I chose chicken thighs for this recipe because they're really forgiving. You can kind of overcook them and it's okay. They're perfect for meal prep and they're really tasty throughout the week. So excited about this meal. It looks like our rice is fully cooked now too, so I'm gonna remove it from the heat and set it aside for a minute. Next up is the ground turkey for the stuffed bell peppers. So I'm gonna heat a large, deep pan over a medium-high heat and then add a little olive oil. Once that's hot, I will add the ground turkey and break it up with my spoon. Then I'm gonna add in the diced yellow onion, minced garlic, sea salt, black pepper, chili powder, dried oregano, and paprika, and stir to combine. I'm gonna cook this until the meat is well browned and the onions are tender, about 6 to 8 minutes. Next, I'll add the diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, and our cooked white rice, 4 cups of it, and stir to combine. To prep the bell peppers, I'm gonna carefully slice off the tops of each of the bell peppers, leaving as much of the pepper as possible. Then I'll clean out the pepper and wash it thoroughly. I'm gonna place each pepper in an oven-safe baking dish that's been greased with some olive oil, cut side up. And if you find that your bell pepper won't stay standing up, you can just slice off like just a little bit of the bottom so that it is even, and it works like a charm. Then spoon the ground turkey and rice mixture into the hollowed out peppers. And with any of that extra stuffing, I'm gonna spread it all around the peppers in the baking dish. The chicken thighs are done now and the potatoes are tender, and so I can remove them from the oven. Now I'm gonna turn the temp down to 350 degrees and place the stuffed bell peppers into the oven. We're gonna bake them for about 45 minutes or until the peppers are tender. Stuffed bell peppers are a childhood favorite of mine, but nobody in my family likes them very much. They don't just really care for bell peppers that way. So very excited that I get to enjoy these all week. We have the Carnitas bowl that we still need to do, and we have the smoothies and the hummus, and then I think everything else, once this is out of the oven, is gonna be good to go. So we're doing pretty good on time. I can make the hummus and slice the carrots. I just need to add the rinsed and drained chickpeas to a food processor, along with lemon juice, tahini, and a small clove of garlic, olive oil, ground cumin, and some sea salt. Then I'm just gonna blend together until it's smooth. With hummus, depending on the texture you're looking for, you'll probably need to add a little water to the mixture to get it really smooth. I usually need to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Now for smoothies, I know that they're fast anyway, but I like to have everything prepped in the freezer ahead of time other than the milk and the protein powder. Then when it's time to make my smoothie, I just pour it all into the blender and dump the contents of the freezer bag into that, and it actually saves a ton of time because you don't have to get all the stuff out. So I will prep each of my smoothies for the week in reusable silicone bags. So in each one of these bags, I have added my strawberries, lemon juice, and my Greek yogurt. And then I'm gonna press all the air out of the bag and seal it tightly, and then place it in the freezer for the week. When it's time to make the smoothie, I just pop out the contents of the bag into a blender, add the milk and my Cleanish protein powder, and I'm done. For my protein smoothie, I'm gonna be using my Vanilla Bean Cleanish plant-based protein. It's delicious, no added sugars, doesn't hurt your tummy, and goes great in this strawberry cheesecake smoothie. Now we get to assemble the carnitas and rice bowls. I think this is the meal I'm looking forward to the most. I need to grab the slightly cooled pork, and then I'm gonna shred it with 2 forks. This would be fine for regular pulled pork, but we're making carnitas, so we're gonna have a couple more steps to add a little extra love and flavor. I'm gonna transfer the pulled pork to a rimmed baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and then I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lime juice and sea salt over the top. Then I'm gonna place this under the broiler until the pork is crisp on the edges. It's gonna take about 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. Finally, I'm gonna top with a little fresh cilantro. While that's cooling, I'll grab the other bowl ingredients, which includes the rice and the black beans. To assemble the bowls, I'm gonna divide the white rice evenly into 4 meal prep containers. Then I'm gonna top the carnitas and black beans and a little bit more cilantro and a lime wedge. Okay, so look at all this food that we made. This is incredible. Okay, so we have, starting in the front right here, the strawberry cheesecake protein smoothies, which I need to get back in the freezer so they don't melt. We have our stuffed bell peppers, the lemon roasted chicken thighs and veggies, and then the carnitas bowl, which looks really tasty. And then our snack, we have the carrots and hummus. Pretty happy with this. This looks really good. So in a second, I'll share what the total cost was with everything, including the chicken thighs I went back and paid for, and what that breaks down into each meal. But first, let's talk about the specifics of each of these meals, what's in the macros and how many calories are in each. Strawberry cheesecake smoothie, 11 grams of fat, 30 grams of protein, 36 grams of carbs, 350 calories. Hummus with carrots, 7 grams of fat, 8 grams of protein, 23 carbs, 150 calories. Sheet pan lemon chicken and veggies, 27 grams of fat, 53 grams of protein, 38 carbs, and 605 calories. Carnitas rice bowl, 26 grams of fat, 45 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, 571 calories. Stuffed bell peppers, 10 grams of fat, 59 grams of protein, 34 carbs, 458 calories. I've also shared these recipes and my grocery list for this meal prep for you in the description below. Okay, so I have my 2 receipts. The first one was for $53.90, and then when I went back in and paid for the chicken thighs, it was $9.81. So that adds up to $63.71. So then if we take our 12 entrees, so we have our 4 servings of our 3 meals that we can do for lunch or dinner. So we have some variety. And then we take our 6 smoothie packs, and then we have our 6 snacks. That makes a total of 24 total meals that we just made, including all of that. So if you take that $63.71 and you divide it by 24, we come out to $2.65 per meal. Pretty stoked on that. That's so much less than we're normally spending on a meal. And if you consider that if you wanted to double it or triple it or whatever, at $2.65 a meal, you're gonna be saving a lot of money with a family as well. So really stoked on this. I think we did good. And also the cool thing about this is that, we have the variety of the different meals during the week. And then we followed the rules of not having the processed foods and keeping minimal ingredients and all that. So pretty stoked. Plus, at $2.65 a meal, I'm gonna be saving a lot of money on my food too. I usually spend more than this. Hopefully you enjoyed this meal prep on a budget and it gave you some motivation on how you might be able to save money and eat healthy at the same time. Now that you have the meal prep part down, check out this video next to see what other tactics I would do in order to lose 100 pounds in a year, and I will see you in the next video.